one.
Welcome to the Fourth Line Podcast, part of the Alberta Podcast Network, locally grown, community supported. This is September the 14th, 2020. With you today is myself, Carl, and Stevie Nick.
I have to mute this hockey game because the national anthem's on right now, the American one, and you talking over it was very inspirational.
Should we just put that on a loop in behind it?
I feel like the national anthems have been on a loop for the last 5 weeks.
That's a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Man. You know what I realized today, Nick? We're sitting down to record today's show, and I just got to thinking about kind of some of the things we have coming up in our hopper. Because did you know this is episode 295?
Oh, I knew we were close. I didn't realize we were that close.
Yeah, we're coming up on 300, so that's coming up soon. So I was kind of like percolating some ideas about it.
Okay.
And what I started thinking was we have this episode, which there's game 5 on right now of Stars Vegas, right? That's the anthem you're talking about.
Yep.
And we've got at most 2 more weeks where there's actual games being played. So we've got 2 more episodes after this where there's games being played. And then remember that time when the NHL got shut down, there was nothing to talk about?
No.
I'm glad you blocked that out because it's real fresh for me, those long months. Anyways, and remember how we just kept doing shows during that?
Yes, that I do remember.
Yeah. Well, we're back to that, Nick. We're going to have no hockey and shows to do.
Let's just focus on the next couple weeks.
Yeah, we've got a Stanley Cup to hand out.
We've got conference championships to hand out, a Conn Smythe trophy to hand out, a Stanley Cup.
I don't know what's happening on my TV right now, Nick, because the anthems are done, and I'm seeing videos of grain elevators. So maybe they've added extra video to the Canadian anthem is what's happening.
Maybe. Like, how can we spice this thing up a little bit?
Yeah. Let's take this dirge of a song and add some grain elevators.
Even they're bored of the national anthems at this point.
Exactly. Well, we're going to get to the series. We're going to talk about some of the news of the week. There is some news of the week, Nick. We'll get to some of that. Before we do, I have a very important message for you, Nick. So this episode is brought to you by the fantastic people at Unbelts, UN Belts. And what I love about this is there are lots of things great. So one, they're local, right? They're from Edmonton. They're an Edmonton-based business that makes the comfiest stretch belts around. I love a comfy belt. That's a great thing. But here's what else is important, Nick. This is very important because we were talking about this earlier. They also make masks, cloth masks. You're going to need some more of those, right? We're all masking up because we're doing our part to make sure that we beat COVID together.
Absolutely.
So if you're not masking up, fix it and head to unbelts.ca because we got a promo code for you. Promo code APN. You can use that. These have elastic straps that go around your head instead of your ears, but you can also make them go around your ears. So you can do whatever you want with them. They're great. They've got a nose wire that can help your glasses from keeping from fogging up, and some of us 4 eyes like me need that. They've got a waterproof outside shell.
These are like the fanciest masks I've ever heard of.
And cotton on the inside. They come in different colors and 4 sizes, from preschooler to adult extra large. They've been featured all over the place. Parents Magazine, Elle Canada, Best of Edmonton. And they're a certified B Corporation, which means their business is all about giving back. So all September long, for every mask and kids belt they sell, they'll give a mask to Alberta schools in need. What more of a reason do you need?
That is great. I love it.
So,
and while you're on there, might as well order a belt too, because those sound comfy.
Yeah, get a stretchy belt. I mean, Thanksgiving dinner's coming up, and you know what you need? A stretchy belt.
That's right.
So get some of those belts, get a mask, and help a kid, because that's important. Keep the kids safe, keep you safe, keep yourself comfy and looking good. Unbelts.ca is your place to go. All right. We sat here a few weeks ago, and there was a bunch of series that were 3-1, and we sat here and made predictions on what would happen in those series. Well, we're back, Nick. We're back. Both of these series are 3-1. Dallas Stars, Tampa Bay Lightning, both up 3-1 in their series. Let's start there.
One expected and one not, maybe, would you say?
I would say. Yeah, I would.
You know, I was a little nervous about that Tampa in 5 pick with how the Islanders performed in the first 2 rounds. But after having seen 4 games now and Tampa leading 3-1, I feel pretty comfortable in that pick.
Yeah, have you spent your gourd money yet, or are you just you're not counting your chickens till they're hatched?
I'm not counting these chickens till they're hatched. Look at these Stars, up 3-1.
It's true. So, Stars not as expected. So let's start there, especially since that's the game that's on now. And by the time this episode comes out, this series might be over.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think Vegas is not done. Although I do have to say I haven't been. I thought Vegas played a better game 4, but I haven't been too impressed with that how they're getting pucks to the net. Like they're just, I just feel like they're not getting to the high danger spots.
Yeah, it's like they know that Khudobin is playing well and that Dallas is going to be able to keep them out. And Dallas, don't get me wrong, Dallas is doing a great job keeping them outside as well.
Yeah, they're just not. They're not playing fast enough to get around them.
Yeah, which is weird because like they've had some time to, like they played just as many games as Dallas has, so you would think that they wouldn't be getting tired, but it seems like they might be. But also, I would put more on just Dallas being good at shutting them down.
Yeah, is this the most shutdown game Dallas has played since the return to play?
Yeah, I would think so. Because, last round, they just played fire wagon hockey against Colorado.
Yeah. So they've really kind of adjusted their game. They've looked at the Golden Knights and where their strengths are, and they've adjusted how they're playing to dampen those strengths. And they've done a good job so far.
Absolutely. And I do think, I think so many of these games could have easily gone either way. Like, these have been close games.
Yeah.
But you've got Anton Khudobin, who's playing really well. You've got Robin Lehner, who's no longer shutting out every person in sight. And when that's not happening and you're not playing against a worse team, it's a struggle. Lehner
had a good run, though.
Yeah.
I still question that game 1 start of Fleury, but...
Oh, absolutely. Right? Because, you start Fleury, you start Lehner in game 1, you've got potentially, right, you win that game, now it's 2-2. Or 2-2 instead of 3-1. So... And
I really do think players adjust their games based on who they have in net behind them.
Absolutely.
I think your Avalanche are actually proof of that.
Yes. Oh, definitely they were.
So I don't know. You put if they have all the confidence in Lehner and you start him in game 1, they play a more confident game.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Hindsight's 2020. Here we are. They're going to be eliminated, probably, maybe.
Probably.
I don't know. Do you think they have it in them? Can they come back?
I think so. So against the Canucks, they blew a lead, right? They were up 3-1, and they did the giving up of that lead and managed to come back and stop that run and win game 7. I think that they've already seen the other side of it, right? They've seen a team come back. They've seen that it's possible. And so they don't even have to look further than themselves to know, right? They saw Dallas do it last round, right? So, yeah, Dallas has given up a 3-1 lead. Vegas has managed to see a team do it. I think they very easily can.
Yeah, I don't think they've got. I don't think they're done yet either. They've got more in the tank. They'll come back. I think they've just got to. They got to play a little faster and capitalize when Dallas is down. I mean, Dallas is one of the most penalized teams in the playoffs, I believe.
Yeah.
And you should be taking advantage of that.
Definitely. Yeah. You've got to be able to score. And I saw, it's going to be the same story in the other series, right? Like the Islanders aren't getting anything done on the power play either.
Yeah. So yes, I think Vegas can come back. Obviously, they're not going to win in 6.
No, so you don't win that, but
No, but they might win in 7. Who knows? We'll know in the next few days.
Right, we'll know by Friday. Another Friday game 7.
Whew. For Dallas.
Been a slew of them. Yeah. Last week it was the Raptors. The week before the Avalanche and the Stars.
Oh, man. How frustrating was that Raptors game 7, though?
It was incredibly frustrating. I mean, they didn't the fact that it was as close as it was is what made it frustrating.
Yeah.
Because they made so many mistakes and there were so many chances for them to not blow it.
They just looked gassed in the last 2 minutes. Some of the shots they were missing, I was like, really, guys?
Yeah.
Come on.
Some nice, the air ball from Fred.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Not even close.
Some uncharacteristic shots, but definitely, I mean, Boston was the better team. I was kind of like a lot of these series from last round. I was amazed that they pushed it 7, and we'll hold on for next year.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, so what do you think? You think Vegas comes back and wins this, or does Dallas have it down?
After seeing what I've seen and knowing what I know, I think Dallas is going to close it out in 6.
In 6. Oh, so not tonight.
Not tonight. Not tonight.
I would put my money on 6 as well. I would more believe Dallas wins in 5 than they win in 7, though.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that. If it goes to 7, I'm probably more Vegas than Dallas.
I think at this point in time, I don't think Vegas can win 3 in a row the way Dallas is playing. Because I just haven't seen the adjustments from Vegas like Dallas has.
Yeah, I totally agree. And you can't, you got to make those adjustments early in series like this.
Yeah. You can't throw out your backup goalie in game 1 and then make your adjustments from that, right?
That's right. Yeah, what a weird decision to make. Anyways, yeah, I think Dallas will take it in 6.
All right, there we go. Let's move to the East. Tampa is up 3-1 on the New York Islanders. They will be bringing their series to a close. Game 7 would be Saturday night. This one, I do not think is going 7.
No, this one I'm not really surprised by the results so far. I am surprised by how much hate there is between these two teams.
Yeah.
Where did that come from?
The pregame chirps at center ice last game.
Yeah, what the? It's so, and the comments to the press before and after the games, we don't like them, they don't like us.
Yeah.
How are they sharing hotels?
Well, they won't be for long, so that's nice.
That's true.
And it's a whole hotel with only 4 teams. It's pretty easy to avoid them if you want to.
Do you think, I'm sure all these stories will come out once all the dust is settled from this whole thing. Do you think teams at this point just avoid each other in the common areas of the bubble?
I assume you have to, because I would love to know what is actually happening in there. There's got to be some sort of disdain between these teams.
Yeah.
And, you see someone who did you dirty the night before, you're not just going to be give them a nod, right? You might say something to them.
Yeah, and you've heard, we always hear stories about guys try and get every edge possible in series like this, including off the ice stuff.
Yeah. I mean, the good news is that now they're all in the same hotel, so they can't pull the fire alarm.
That's true. That's true. I wonder if there was some sort of agreement among players when this whole thing started that was look, guys, hotels off the table. Nobody, we don't mess with each other in the hotels.
Shorten each other's sheets and
yeah.
Maybe they do. I assume teammates are doing it. That would be my biggest concern. The teammate pranks where you're just stuck in the same hotel and bored.
Moving all the furniture out of the room into the hallway.
Yeah. It's all in the coach's room.
And I'm also impressed that none of the teams who have been eliminated have messed with them at all.
Although I assume they're escorted out pretty quickly.
You would think.
I did see when the Avalanche lost, the next day I was seeing on Instagram pictures of guys back home.
Oh, already, eh?
Yeah. So it's not long.
I'm sure they can't wait to get out too.
Oh, I don't see why you would want to keep hanging out, right? Just seeing the guys. You know what's worse than seeing the guys you're playing against? Seeing the guys who beat you in the hotel.
Yeah. Like having their like carb loading for the game that afternoon.
Yeah. Like I had the game.
I used to be allowed at that buffet.
Yeah. Now I just get fat if I eat there. It is going to be. I would like those stories to come out. I don't have hope though.
Yeah. What do you think the most popular board game is in the bubble? Do you think they play board games or is it all video games?
I think they play cards. Like I would expect like a lot of pokers being played.
You don't think like Andy Green brought a copy of like Clue or something?
I bet he brought a nice crib board out.
You just can't get anyone to play with him.
Yeah, he's like, guys, you want to play? Especially on his team. We got a Vegas goal here, Nick. It is 1-0 Vegas.
Oh, you are ahead of my stream.
I figured I might be. I wanted you to.
Who scored it? Mark Stone. Nope. Nate Schmidt. Nope. Theodore. None of them.
It was. I don't even know who that was.
Well, it doesn't matter. They're winning.
They are winning. Yes.
Goal still hasn't happened on my stream.
You were very behind.
I don't know what's going on.
Maybe you shouldn't like do this podcast and be watching. I'm glad we have a good connection.
I know, me too.
I'm glad that we're not slowing down. Oh, there we go. It was Chris Stevenson. He got it.
Oh, there you go.
Not Chris Chandler.
Chandler.
Those are not the same names.
They both start with CH.
They do. All right.
We've gone far off topic.
I was trying to remember what our topic was.
Tampa New York.
Yeah, so they don't like each other. The Islanders, I think it's done in 5. I think you're going to get that money, Nick.
Yeah, I think this one's done in 5 as well. But the caveat to me getting that money is Vegas needs to win their series.
Oh, you need both.
I need both teams to win. It doesn't matter in how many games.
Oh, okay.
So I'm cheering for Vegas.
Yeah, absolutely. I would be.
My heart's with them.
Yeah, your
but
wallet is with them.
My wallet is with them, which ultimately, let's be honest, is where my heart is. So Tampa, you think they're going to win in the next game? Do they need Braden Point?
Yeah, he helps, but I think you play Braden Point, and he gets that extra time to rest up with Vegas needing these. So I think you play him. They've been going 7 and 11 for forward, 7 defensemen, 11 forwards. I think maybe you switch that up for this game if you're really that concerned about him and just get that extra forward in case you need to sit point. But it's worked for them so far. So
I mean, he scored last game.
Yeah, he's not that hurt.
I think you play him just with the hopes of closing out the series. And then you got a nice long rest, hopefully.
Yeah, you at least have until it'll probably start Sunday, maybe Monday. So yeah, he'll get some time off, and he was well enough to play last game. He looked fine. Like he didn't look like he was that hurt.
No, but he's hurt though, because he didn't skate for the last like 3 or 4 minutes.
Oh yeah,
they just sat him. Like he's obviously. You're right. He didn't look like it on the ice, but he's obviously battling something.
Yeah, I mean. There's talk out there that Mark Stone's playing with a broken foot right now.
Oh my God. How do you even put a broken foot inside skates?
I don't know.
Like if I'm playing and I take an errant pass off the side of my skate, I don't want to take my skate off. It hurts so much.
You're crawling to the bench. You're not even skating off.
It's like, everyone's like, oh my God, are you okay? And you're like, I don't know. I think it's broken. That's how you know I've never broken a bone.
Yeah.
Guess who was seen skating at practice today inside the bubble?
Steven Stamkos?
Steven Stamkos.
Oh, that's nice.
Isn't it nice?
See, Nick, if he can skate, you can skate.
It's, I don't know, but not all the time. Most times I can skate.
That's fair.
I think it's nice that they're letting him skate a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I
Poor
still don't
guy.
think he's going to play,
No, I don't either.
but he's going to be there because if they win, they're going to have him out on the ice to be a part of the Stanley Cup ceremony.
How is that going to work? Like, if they win, I'm sure we'll have this conversation a couple more times before this thing's handed out, but if they win, is he going to come out on the ice? If he comes out, I assume it'll be in his gear. And is Bettman going to hand the Stanley Cup to him?
Guess so. We haven't had a captain not play in a clinching game in as long as I can remember.
It would be kind of weird. Not even just in a clinching game, but for the entire playoffs.
Yeah. But he has played enough games that he will, I believe he probably has, that his name will go on the cup. Could you imagine the captain of the team doesn't even get his name on there?
No, that would be pretty bad. This actually made me think of another thing. If Gary Bettman's going to be down there handing them the cup, he should be in the bubble by now, isolating, shouldn't he?
Yeah, he probably should be. He's got to get in there. Or Gary, go to unbelts.ca and buy one of these incredible masks, and you can wear that, and then you don't get to hand it to them. You just stand there 2 meters away from Steven Stamkos.
It couldn't be more awkward than when he normally hands the cup to them.
Right? He just waves like, it's yours.
My favorite is when he always tries to shake a hand, and they have no interest in shaking a hand. They just want to hold the cup.
Yeah. You got to pose for the picture.
You got to pose for the picture.
Well, let's talk about another picture posing moment that's going to happen at the end of this series. The Conn Smythe Award is going to be handed out to the MVP of these teams. Let's start with Tampa because they are the team most likely to be in that final. Who's your MVP right now for the Lightning?
The first one that comes to mind without doing any research into it is Andre Palat.
Really?
Dude's been really good in these playoffs. Braden Point also has been really good.
Braden Point has the most points.
And I think on any Stanley Cup winning team, you have to consider the goalie. You have to.
Definitely have to. Yeah.
And then, I don't know, maybe Victor Hedman. He started injured. He's had a pretty good playoffs, but I'd go with the forwards. I'd go with the forwards.
Okay. I'm expecting like Curtis McElhinney to get listed soon. Apparently he's on this roster.
I mean, he did play playoff games.
He did. I would go with Hedman for my pick.
You'd go with Hedman, eh?
I would. He has been, like offensively, he's been huge for this team. He's the classic ability defensively. What he's been through he's had injury problems and played through and been able to do that. I would say Hedman.
Who last year St. Louis won? Who won the Conn Smythe last year?
It was someone. Wasn't it Ryan O'Reilly?
It was Ryan O'Reilly, wasn't it?
It was someone dumb.
I was going to go off on a thing about how defensemen always win, but they didn't last year.
Yeah. Well, let's see. Let's see how many of them. Who do you think the last defensive Conn Smythe winner was?
Oh, man. St. Louis. And then there was Washington. I couldn't even tell you who won with Washington.
Probably Ovechkin.
You think it was Ovi? It might have been Ovi.
It was Ovi. I now have the list up.
Oh, you have the list up. Okay, so tell me the teams. I could figure it out, but it'll take way too long.
So, before Washington, it was back-to-back Pittsburghs. Who do you got for those?
Chris Letang won one of those.
Chris Letang has never won a Conn Smythe.
I'm assuming Crosby won one and Malkin won one?
They were both Crosby.
They were both Crosby?
They were both Crosby.
Okay, before Pittsburgh was Chicago? LA?
Before it was Chicago in 2015.
Chicago in 2015, Patrick Kane?
Nope. Duncan Keith.
There
Keith? It is.
So defensemen never win it.
So before Duncan Keith, we got to go all the way back to 2007. Anaheim Ducks. Scott Niedermayer.
Yeah.
And before that, you got to go back to 2002. someone by the name of Nicholas Lidstrom won a Conn Smythe.
Yeah, I've heard of him.
Yeah. Well, he won one.
Name's usually mentioned with Bobby Orr.
Yeah. I don't think Bobby Orr won a Conn Smythe, though.
Did it exist back then?
No, he did.
Yeah.
He won 2 of them. And before that, we've got a few: Scott Stevens, Brian Leach, Al McInnes.
Okay, Carl. Look, you've done it. Okay, you've proved me wrong. That defensemen always win it.
But rarely.
Clearly, they never win it.
Yeah, rarely, right?
Yeah.
So it is. And you have to, now looking at this list, like I think back to Scott Niedermayer when he won that in 2007. Like he was next level, otherworldly for that Ducks team. I don't think Victor Hedman's that.
But you have to be that as a defenseman.
I think so. So maybe I take back the Victor Hedman pick and go Braden Point.
Okay. So we're not on the same page, but like we're in the same chapter.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
What about the Islanders?
Oh man, where do we even start with the Islanders? Can you just award it to the team?
Just a team. Can
it go to Barry Trotz?
Just hand it.
I don't know. Like the only one who even comes to mind for me is Matt Barzal.
Yeah, he's been good. I would probably go with him. This is one where I think if they make a comeback, it's going to have to be on the back of a very incredible Semyon Varlamov. And so if they were to make a comeback, again, like you said, you always have to consider the goalie.
Yeah, you do.
And so potentially him, but I would probably have to say him or Andrew Ladd. Probably Barzal or Andrew Ladd.
Get out of here. You still got those notifications up?
Still got them, and he played. He played a game.
Yeah, he's a -1 on the stat sheet.
Plus minus is a garbage stat.
Yeah, that's what Andrew Ladd would say.
I was actually scrolling through their roster on this app, and I was like, why is his name yellow? Oh, that's why. It's because I have the notifications on.
That's funny. I think Matt Barzal is one of my favorite players to watch in the league. He doesn't always score, but if you just watch him on the ice, he does so many little things that are just mind-blowing.
He's very creative.
It's really impressive.
I like it. All right. So we both agreed. Now we're on the same page. We got Barzal. All right. Let's keep this rolling. The Dallas Stars.
Oh man, the Dallas Stars. Who's that guy whose name I can't remember who scored the hat trick? I was just kidding.
Way to bring that up.
Okay, I'm going to do a thing where I name a few names again, but just let me reason with myself, okay?
Okay. Yeah, you're thinking out loud. I appreciate this.
We need to fill this time somehow. Okay.
We've got it. We still got 30 minutes left.
So I think Alex Radulov has been great in the playoffs. I don't think he's been like otherworldly. I think he's been great. I think he's been a really clutch player. I think this one's kind of out there, but I think Joe Pavelski has also been surprisingly good for them. I don't know if I would put him on a Conn Smythe level. I'm just talking about players who have stood out to me. But really, for me, the star of the Stars playoffs is Miro Heiskanen.
I feel like defensemen rarely win the Conn Smythe, though.
Really? Well, let's go back and look at the last time defenseman won.
When do you think that was? I like the Heiskanen pick. I very much do. I mean, in the same way that I feel about the Victor Hedman pick. They've done a very good job, especially, again, offensively, I've liked what he's brought. I also really like the Radulov pick. Like he has been consistent through this entire playoff. Not otherworldly, but consistent.
And he comes up big when they need it. And he's always been that kind of player, which, adds to that consistency, I guess.
Yeah. I would say like the amount, I don't have the stat pulled up here, but game-winning goals, he's got to be up there this playoffs.
I was going to put, I do have it here. He has 4 game-winning goals.
Told you.
I can tell you exactly how he ranks in the playoffs. He is second place.
Who's first?
Nazem Kadri. He had 5.
Can we hand him the Conn Smythe? Can we give it to Naz?
Not this year, Carl. Not this year.
Fine. Next year. All right.
Who's last?
I like Radulov. That's my pick.
Okay.
Next.
So again, same few pages.
Yeah. This one I know. This one you can brainstorm, think out loud. I've got mine on lockdown.
Okay. Why don't we start with you then, so people don't have to listen to me ramble?
Okay. It's Robin Lehner. When you get as many shutouts as Robin Lehner has this offseason or this postseason and offseason, who knows what he's going to do in the offseason? But especially if they continue to make it, right? Like currently, I mean, Dallas only has 43 minutes left in this game. He could get a shutout this game, which, like, I know I just said the word, and those who are superstitious assume that very soon Dallas will score, but who knows? Who knows? But I've been so impressed with what he's been able to do. He has kept them in close games. He has shut out the other team. That's really all you can ask for a goalie, is to not let in any goals.
Yeah, I mean, he's got, I think, the second best goals against average of the remaining teams. Best goals against average. Well, he's tied with Tampa. I think that's probably the most obvious pick for this team. They're kind of another team who, like, I don't know if there's a single. I shouldn't compare them to the Islanders, but they're doing stuff more like a team. I don't know if there's a single player that I can pick out that is Conn Smythe worthy.
Yeah, I mean, they are definitely better than the Islanders, but yes. If I look through the rest of those series, right, there have been so many players that have stepped up at various times, right? Shea Theodore has had one heck of a series. Yeah. But you don't hand a Conn Smythe to a defenseman. We've talked about that. So
really? When was the last time that they handed a Conn Smythe?
Nick Lidstrom in 2002 is the last time.
I think you can only do callback jokes twice before they get old, so.
Watch us, Nick. Yeah, I don't know. Like, Mark Stone's been good. Bradley Smith's been good. Alex Tuck's been good. Those would be, if I'm picking a forward, it's one of them, but none of them stand out in the way Lehner does.
Yeah, I totally agree. Okay, here's a question about the Conn Smythe. Is this a year, like, is there a player in these playoffs who stood out as a clear Conn Smythe winner, whether his team wins or not?
Nathan MacKinnon.
Any other Avalanche you want to name?
No, it's him, because that's the answer. He is the player who has stood out to be the most important and most valuable to their team this postseason.
Okay. Moving on.
What would you pick?
I don't think I disagree. You're probably correct. But how are you going to hand the Conn Smythe to someone who's no longer in the bubble?
You know what? If we start seeing on the social medias, him back in the bubble, we know why.
But we've seen it. We've seen the Conn Smythe handed to a player on the losing team before. Have we ever seen it handed to a player who wasn't even in the finals?
I don't think so.
It's a bit of a stretch.
That seems like a stretch. Because what do we got here? I've still got this list pulled up.
Who's the Anaheim goalie? The picture that breaks my heart.
J.S. Shiger.
Yeah.
See, and like he was next level that entire playoffs, made the finals and did it. I think you have to make the finals to win the Conn Smythe, though.
And I'm okay with that. I think you should have to make the finals to win the Conn Smythe.
Yeah. Because you still have to be in the bubble, because all the finals are now going to happen in a bubble.
All the playoffs are now going to happen in a bubble.
I mean, I look forward to the day where sports are not in a bubble. NFL's not, and you know what? I was actually very impressed. They had 5,000 people. The NHL has had 0 COVID tests positive. this entire time. NFL tested 5,000 people. They're not using a bubble, and all 5,000 of them came back negative. That's impressive.
That is very impressive, actually.
It's good on them.
Do they still have teams that are kind of allowing fans?
Yeah, the first game of the season, Kansas City Chiefs, that game was in Kansas City, and they had fans. I think it was 20-something thousand.
That's great. I wonder how they're doing with all the travel arrangements and stuff, because that to me is like the scary part, is getting on and off planes and going into airports and in and out of hotels.
Well, I assume like all the planes are chartered. Like they're not going.
They're all on private planes.
Yeah. So that's less of a concern. Like you're not going to just see them walking through the airport.
But is that also not true of the MLB? Like, why does the MLB had such issues with this?
MLB has had players who were like going to the casino after the game, like a.
Oh yeah, well you can't do that.
No, so that's partially why. So, but yeah, if the NFL were to have any cases, they could have a problem, same as MLB. But so far, fingers crossed, none. So,
can we pause on football for a minute? I can tell you my football story. I've never really been big into football. Every year I kind of try a little bit, and I guess every year I go a little deeper. But the only team I really have exposure to, and this is because of the people I follow on Twitter, is the Detroit Lions. So that's the team I follow. So yesterday, I'm like, I don't even care about football that much, and I'm psyching myself up. I'm like, it's a new season, they're gonna be good. Like I'll watch every week. And then they blew it in the fourth quarter yesterday. Did you see that?
Oh, I saw that.
Oh my God, that was the most frustrating thing I've ever seen.
What do you like your rookie running back dropping a pass in the end zone?
Oh my God. I was like, dude, that you don't get a nicer pass than that, I don't think.
That's your shot.
That was your shot. It's so frustrating. And the season's so short that like losing one game this early could.
Yeah. It changes things.
If anyone has any suggestions of good football teams to watch, I'm listening.
Okay. Well, my Los Angeles Chargers, I still call them San Diego Chargers because I still have a hard time thinking of that. They're up 1-0. They won yesterday, beating the Bengals. Not hard to beat the Bengals, but they made it hard. Bengals kicker. What's interesting about that for me? Also, we're still have hockey happening. We're already getting distracted by other things. This is welcome to what's going to happen in 2 weeks when there's no hockey left.
There hasn't been this many sports on in months.
It's true. Anyways, real quick, kicker missed the kick, and then presumably most people, the common belief is that he faked an injury after missing the kick so that he faked a calf injury. Because now all reports are like, it's not serious. He's going to be fine. He should be able to play next week. And I'm like, you limped off the field and like borderline had to get carried off.
Hold on. When you say he missed a kick, do you mean he missed the ball when he went to kick it? Or he kicked it and missed the pole? And
it was like a 25-yard field goal and he missed the uprights.
Oh, that's not that. Is that what they're called? Uprights?
Yeah.
I did not expect to learn so much tonight.
Some called them the pole. Like very few people do.
Are you being serious or are you making fun of me because I just called it that?
Yeah, I've never heard anyone call it that.
But I don't know much about football, but I know that 25 yards isn't that hard or isn't that far of a field goal.
I've hit a 25-yard field goal before. So.
Wow, you should be in the NFL.
I shouldn't be. No, that's a fact. All right, let's get to some other news of the week. The Calgary Flames announced today that Geoff Ward is going to be staying on as the head coach of the team next year. He was the interim head coach. Now he's not. He's just the head coach. And I think with so much potential change for this Flames team this offseason, I'll pull up the list of potential free agents, but there's a lot that could be changed with this team. Having some sort of stability is what they need. Geoff Ward is that, and I think that's more important than any sort of finding a different coach right now.
Yeah, I mean, and they responded well to him after he took over. It's kind of crazy to think that whole drama controversy happened this year.
Yeah, remember, this was the year that every coach in the league got fired.
Yeah. It's crazy. Which also tells me that there's a lot of coaching candidates out there.
Yeah, Mike Babcock got interviewed for the Washington job.
Did they interview him?
Apparently, yeah.
Man, I don't know how him and Ovi are going to do.
But also Arizona's been interviewing Pierre Maguire for their GM job. So who knows what interviews are anymore.
Man, that's the one thing I forgot last week. That I was like, we should talk about this, and we didn't. He didn't get the job, though.
Yeah, I wonder why.
Can you imagine Pierre Maguire as a GM?
I would love to see him in the GM meetings.
Oh, my God, to be a fly on the wall. Even responding to the press at the end of the year press conferences and stuff.
Do you think when Pierre Maguire's not on a broadcast, he dives, like he refuses to just mention the player's name, but has to dive super deep into their past, like just all the time?
He must.
Like he sees them in the bubble and he's like, hey, so-and-so who went to this high school and played for this junior team.
Got to keep it fresh somehow.
That's what he does. Yeah. Always comments on their breath. Could you imagine I just realized Phil Kessel and him would have been part of the same organization.
Oh my God. That's probably why they didn't get it.
They asked some of the players, hey Phil, how do you feel about Pierre Maguire? What, that weirdo with the breath comments? No.
Kessel's like, there's not enough mouthwash in the world to get me through an entire season with this guy.
He's going to be doing mint checks.
Oh my God. That's one of the funniest interview clips I've seen from hockey.
So good. All right.
Calgary.
Calgary Flames. Here are their free agents. Tobias Reeder, Zach Ronaldo, meh. Defensively, Travis Hamonic, TJ Brody, Eric Gustafson, Michael Stone, and Cam Talbot are all unrestricted free agents.
Okay, so let's talk about the goalies separately, because I think that's a different conversation. You got to get some of these defensemen back, right?
Got to, yeah.
Travis Hamonic, you got to think they're going to do something.
Yep.
Michael Stone.
Yeah. I would say Michael Stone already has weird situations with the Flames. I don't know if you recall. They bought him out to only re-sign him at a cheaper dollar value.
Oh, yeah, that was weird.
Yeah. So I think he's already being paid by the Flames next year anyway, so they might as well just run that back.
TJ
Brody, I would likely think that he's been with this organization for a while. I wouldn't be surprised if he stuck around as well.
Right. So when you look at are we 2021 now?
Yeah, so cap friendly's rolled forward their season.
Okay, that happened. Current cap space, almost 17 million. They need to get at least 3 of these D-men signed.
Yeah.
And they got to get their goalies figured out.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about this goalie situation. You think Cam Talbot's going to be back in a Flame sweater?
I think for a reasonably low price, I think they could get Cam Talbot back. I think that they will dive into the medium tier goalie market and sign another guy to a 1-year deal is what's going to happen here.
The goalie market's going to be really interesting this year, which is why I wouldn't rush to re-sign Cam Talbot.
I would agree with that.
So, and I think for that reason, no one else is going to be rushing to sign Cam Talbot either. So you've probably got a little bit of time to sit on that one.
Is this goalie market going to be, the way you describe that reminds me of last year, 2 years ago, when like no restricted free agents signed the entire offseason because they were all just waiting for the other shoes to drop. Is that what this goalie market's going to be?
I think that's what it's going to be like for goalies this year. Yeah. Don't you? Like with the way the cap's going to be structured this year, every free agent's like, it's going to reset free agency.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And nobody's going to want to be the first one to go and maybe take less than the next guy.
See, I thought the other way. I thought that it would be like you want to sign first when teams still have money. Sign your deal when they have money so that you're not signing for like league minimum later.
I guess that's another way to go about it. I have such a hard time talking about this though, because I have no idea how to evaluate goalies. Like, how do you place a value on the skills of a goaltender?
Right. I mean, for a guy like Cam Talbot, who's been playing for as long, and you kind of know, right? You know what you're going to get from him. It's not going to be great. It probably won't be terrible. Sometimes it will be. Sometimes it won't.
Right. So then you look at the team in front of him and you say, is this team strong enough to support a goalie where we sometimes will get what we need from him, sometimes we won't?
Well, if you're not keeping TJ Brody and Travis Hamonic, you certainly need some better goaltending.
Right. Which I assume they're going to try and keep those guys.
One would assume, unless those guys want to go. I mean, Travis Hamonic's that was a rumored thing before when he was with the Islanders that he was going to be going. He ended up in Calgary. I don't know if he is or is not happy here, but we'll find out.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that, to bring it back, it's a pretty low risk, high reward move for them to keep the coach on.
Yeah, I agree.
Geoff Ward. His name was escaping me.
But you nailed it.
But thank you.
The NHL actually, looking ahead more to the offseason as well, NHL has changed the draft date. They said, look, we hurried things up in the bubble, so we're going to draft a couple days sooner.
I think it makes sense. I don't know what team would want to push it back further.
Yeah.
Right? You're not doing any more scouting between now and then.
No, right? I mean, there's nothing to scout. You might as well get things started so that, because we don't know when things are going to fire up again in the fall yet. That's not happened set. So try to get things done as quickly as possible. So that has been slated for, and this is an interesting choice by the NHL though, because that is currently slated for Tuesday, October 6th is round one. So that'll be, I think we're all used to a Friday, Saturday draft where Friday is round one, Saturday is the rest. Yeah. Now it's a Tuesday, Wednesday deal, Nick. So,
and likely all online.
It's all going to be online. I mean, whoever was hosting this year's draft maybe they'll just host next year's draft.
Yeah. Who do you think's going to go first?
Probably a defenseman. Those things always go first. I think the real question is, who do you think is going to go fourth?
I don't know. I'm not in draft mode yet, Carl. Okay, I'm still not even over the stupid lottery.
Well, Nick, you only have less than 3 weeks today. So
it's a good thing they're not counting on me to figure it out for them.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing. Stevie Y is not calling up Stevie Nick and asking.
That's right. I mean, he could call me if he wants. Steve, if you're listening, please, I'll speak to you on the phone, my friend. We don't have to talk hockey.
Talk about your favorite barbecue joints.
Yeah.
Maybe next time you're down in Windsor, see if he'll come over for dinner.
My dad sat beside him at a bar once.
Ooh.
In Windsor.
Is he nice?
Yeah, I guess. I think it was just like a crowded bar, and there was a bunch of hockey players who came in after a game. And Eiserman was like, "Can I take the stool?" And my dad was like, "Okay." And that was it.
It's nice your dad to play it cool like that. All right, Nick. We've got some awards handed out. What's nice is, I know we talked about this earlier. We didn't really touch on it last week. The NHL, instead of doing this like giant award show, they're just announcing them. They're like, this is an award that somebody won. A lot like Major League Baseball does. They are going to do a 30-minute show online. I assume 90% of it, so 27 of the 30 minutes will be a Nickelback concert. And then they'll be like, here's Nathan MacKinnon winning the Hart Trophy. I assume that's what the entire show is going to be, but I could be wrong.
And Nathan MacKinnon's just going to be sitting in his living room in a hoodie, and his cheeks are going to be rosy because he'll have a bottle of wine down already.
Yeah, they mailed him the trophy 2 weeks ago. Like, hey, Nate, don't tell anyone.
Then Enterprise is calling him up. And they're like, we think you left your cup in the car. Did you see that commercial?
Can't stand Martin Brodeur.
The Calder Trophy? That's a cup. Man, I hate that commercial.
Yeah, he's the worst. So we got some winners. The Jack Adams winner, Coach of the Year, Bruce Cassidy of the Boston Bruins.
I mean, his team won the President's Trophy.
And it's regular season awards, right? These have no impact on the postseason. So, I mean, his team was good.
He was good. His team was good. I don't know. His goalie was good. That's a thing that matters for the Jack Adams.
Very true. I mean, we're through that phase, I think, where every Jack Adams winner is going to get fired. That was a fun era we had for a little bit there.
Yeah.
Where it was like, which team overproduced this year? Oh, weird. Turns out that's not sustainable.
Yeah. I think he did a really good job coaching by putting Bergeron, Marchand, and Pasternak together.
Who would have thought stacking a line was a good idea?
Yeah, I know. It's great strategy for winning.
I honestly, I mean, again, it typically was an award for so many years that was handed to the player or the coach that got the most out of his team. It's like worst roster. And I know that it's hard to hand that out back-to-back years, but I still think Barry Trotz was the guy who should have won this award.
I would agree with that. And he's reminding us of that right now, too, through these playoffs.
Yeah. Now, granted, they did decide that Lou Lamoriello, Trotz's GM, should win the GM of the Year award. So they still gave the Islanders a little bit of credit, but I just find it interesting that roster management was the way that they were like, yup, this is why they're good.
I thought that one was kind of a weird choice. I mean, I guess he went out and got, what's the guy's name? Pajot, and re-signed him.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I didn't like that deal.
No, I didn't like any of his deals. I didn't like any, did he not trade for Andy Green?
Yeah. He gave
like,
up an actual thing for Andy Green.
Yeah. I didn't understand that.
Maybe he needed someone to play old person games with him.
Andy, I heard Noah's playing cribbage with you.
No one on the Devils wants to play canasta? I got you.
1953 state champion right here.
This is going to get Canasty.
Hey. And there's the episode title. Let's get Canasty.
Great. Now I have to figure out how to spell canasta. I regret so many things.
I don't know. That one was weird. Who are the other finalists in that one? Do you remember?
No, I do not recall who the finalists were.
I'll keep talking about why Lamoriello was a weird one too. At the beginning of the year, I thought his goaltending choices were questionable. Mm-hmm. I guess that's paid off a little bit through these playoffs.
The nominees, Don Sweeney. No, that's the wrong year. Come on, Wikipedia. Keep going, Nick. Filibuster.
Yeah, goaltending was questionable. His defense is like individual players wise. There's nobody really that stands out to me as unbelievably good, but Trotz brought them all together so they played as a unit.
Yeah.
How's that?
So it was still no. Come on, NHL. When I pull up a link that says it, don't give me one from 2017. You know what, Nick? No one was nominated with him. Okay, that's what the answer is.
He was just the only one. Classic NHL. They're terrified of Lou. They're like, we're not even going to give him competition.
Yeah.
You know what though? If he resigns Matt Martin, I think they'll have to take the award away from him.
Retroactively, sorry, no more. I mean, it makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. All right. That seems like a good place to wrap up the old. Any other awards that stood out to you? I guess before we wrap up.
No, but I'm sure there was one that stood out to you. Let's go out with it.
There wasn't. I mean, I'm waiting. They're going to announce Vezina, Norris, Hart, Nathan McKinnon. He won an award.
There it is.
Yeah.
He won the Lady Bing. Was it not?
He did win the Lady Bing, which is, I mean, so that was a deserving trophy because that's the one just judged on essentially like that's the player for sportsmanship, gentlemanly conduct, and I couldn't agree more. Nathan McKinnon, great guy.
Great guy. I love it. I love that there's an award in the NHL for gentlemanly conduct.
In a game where you hit each other all the time.
Yeah.
Who does it the most gentlemanly is the thing. So we've got that going for them. The rest of the awards are going to be handed out at this ceremony, which will be online. I'm sure it'll be on the televisions as well. But you can tune in and check those out. Before we wrap up the show, I want to let you all know about the Calgary Foundation supporting this. And so Calgary Foundation does fantastic work in and around the community. They are funding anti-racism programs, addiction recovery, food hampers for the hungry. And they've been doing this for 65 years. They've proudly supported the charitable community to address some of Calgary's biggest challenges. Now, during this period of unprecedented urgent needs, Calgary Foundation has renewed its commitment to building a healthy, vibrant, giving, caring, and resilient community. And I thank them for that. If you're a registered charity looking for a grant, a professional advisor creating a giving plan for your client, or a donor wanting to give back to community, discover a wealth of resources at calgaryfoundation.org and learn more about their work through Calgary Foundation social media on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Head on over there because they're an organization that's their goal is to help other charities get things done. And there's lots of charities in need right now. If you are one of those, head to calgaryfoundation.org and find out how they can help you. You can also head over. I mean, I know we've mentioned them multiple times, but I do think that mostly just because I think just put on a mask, I think is an important message for us all right now. And if it takes you going to unbelts.ca and buying one, that also will give one to a child. They're waterproof. They're great. I have a waterproof mask. I'm not going to say who because it's not from Unbelt. I apologize. But I paid more for this other one than I did at Unbelt. So it's a great thing. Head on over there. Check it out.
Yeah, I think we all gotta look out for each other right now, friends. And that's one of the most prominent ways that we can do it.
Absolutely. We talked about the Conn Smythe. I meant to mention this during the time we were talking about Conn Smythe nominees and winners. We actually had a series. What inspired this was the folks on the website, Joe and Alex and Brody, wrote some pieces on the website predicting who they thought would win for each of the teams. And we thought, hey, that's a good idea. Let's take that and do it on the podcast. So we did. You can head on over there and see who they picked. And maybe they picked a defenseman to win the Conn Smythe. So we'll find out. I know. If you've read them, you know too. Because one of them did. That's right.
You better get over there.
Better
go read it.
Check it out. I know we mentioned one defenseman for every team except for the Islanders. So figure out which one it was. You can find that at thefourthlinepodcast.com or at fourthlinepodcast on Twitter, where you can play high sticking, pick a player that you think is going to score the game-winning goal every game of the playoffs. We're going to hand out some more prizes at the end of this round. And maybe when post offices stop having stupid hours, I can get to a post office and send out prizes. So if we all put on a mask, I could get high sticking prizes out sooner. That's the message here. So we'll get those out. Thanks for everyone who's playing. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. We appreciate you, especially if it's your first time. Send a subscribe wherever you listen to the podcasts, Spotify, iTunes, Google, wherever you are. Subscribe. We'll be back next week with another episode, as we do every Monday.
It's time for us to wrap up another Fourth Line show. I know what you're thinking. You don't want us to go. Cassidy won Jack Adams because he coaches pasty, but Lamoriello won his award because he likes to get Canasty. I've been sitting on it for so long.
Oh, thank you, Nick.